Session 4, where we'll be talking on the topic Transforming Nigeria's Tax Administration for Efficiency and Trust in the New Fiscal Order.
How do we build a tax administration system that citizens trust enough to comply with voluntarily and that government can rely on for sustainable development?
Tax is more than just revenue collection. It is the foundation of national development, economic growth, and public trust. As Nigeria embarks on a new fiscal journey, the conversation around tax administration has never been more important. Today, we are bringing you highlights from the 4th plenary session of the 28th Annual Tax Conference of the Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria with the topic, Transforming Nigeria's Tax Administration for Efficiency and Trust in the New Fiscal Order. What does it take to build a tax system that is efficient, transparent, technology-driven, and trusted by taxpayers? How can tax reforms unlock greater compliance, improve service delivery, and strengthen the nation's economic future? These questions are what this 4th plenary session focuses on. Chairman of session was Mrs. Ifueko Omoigui Okaro, former Executive Chairman FIRS, now the Nigerian Revenue Service, whose wealth of experience set the tone for a robust discussion.
A lot of issues are going to be raised here, but before I call on the lead presenter as represented by the senior advisor to the executive chair, permit me to just highlight a few issues that I feel we'll need to think through as you reflect on questions, comments on the various paper presentations that are going to be made today, and also from our discussants, a very, very credible and strong discussing team. I must commend the CITN for putting such a formidable team together and welcome the discussants to this session. Now, in what we're discussing, there's so many different angles to it. And let me, again, just give the actual title. Transforming Nigeria's Tax Administration for Efficiency and Trust in the New Fiscal Order. So the first question that I hope we'll be reflecting on and will comment on will be, what exactly is the new fiscal order? So it's important for us to understand that, and if there are any issues around that, to please talk to that. And one question that I really like us to respond to would be, what should the ordinary Nigerians experience differently under the new fiscal order? And by ordinary Nigerians, of course, we're also including not just the individuals, we're also looking at SME businesses and, of course, the larger corporates. The second that is evident from this theme is trust. And as we reflect on the presentations and the discussions, one central question would be, why should citizens trust the system? So a number of issues, and that's why I said it's a very, very exciting topic. Let me also commend the NRS for the tax reforms that have been done so far, and also the change, in legislation and the drive to execute the tax legislation starting, this year. So our hope is, as we get the presenter present on behalf of the executive chair, more insights as to how these reforms address, these questions. And I know we'll need more than 15 minutes, but we really crave that we work within that time. So welcome, Executive Chair, NRS, represented by his Special Advisor on Tax Policy. Thank you.
The keynote paper was presented by the Executive Chairman of the Nigeria Revenue Service, Dr. Zacchaeus Adedeji, and was delivered on his behalf by his special advisor on tax policy, Mr. Femi Olarinde. The presentation highlighted ongoing tax reforms aimed at creating a more efficient, transparent, and technology-driven tax administration system. The emphasis was clear: building public trust, improving compliance, simplifying processes, and strengthening revenue generation to support Nigeria's economic development.
The conference theme, Tax Reforms and Global Relevance, Positioning Nigeria's Tax System for Sustainable Future. This speaks directly to the work we are doing at the Nigerian Revenue Service every day. And as Benjamin Franklin says, in this world, nothing is certain except debt and taxes. If taxes are indeed inevitable, then the quality with which they are administered determines the willingness of citizens to comply, the resources available for development, and ultimately the legitimacy of the state. It is with that conviction that I will be speaking and presenting this paper. Let's first look, because before you transform something, you need to first understand where are we? What is the challenge? So what are the challenges of tax administration? I will also speak to a quote. It said budgets should be balanced, the treasury refilled, public debt reduced, lest Roman become bankrupt. This is also a quote by Marcus Tullius Cicero, a Roman statesman. And Nigeria's tax administration has for too long been constrained by structural, institutional, and behavioral challenges. Our tax to GDP ratio has historically languished between 6 to 10% rather, one of the lowest among the comparables in emerging economies, and far below 15% minimum that multilateral institutions consider necessary for financing basic public service. A large informal sector, estimated at about 57% of the GDP, keeps millions of economic activities outside the tax nets. The proliferation of taxes and levies and charges across federal, state, and local government levels created compliance labyrinths and burdened businesses and incentivized evasion. Weak enforcement infrastructure, limited data matching capability, paper-driven processes, and a pervasive trust deficit. Citizens perceiving taxes as an extraction rather than a civic contribution compounded these challenges over decades, and confronting them honestly is the starting point of transformation. And what is the imperative for effective tax administration? Again, I'll borrow a quote from Adam Smith. He said, little else is requisite to carry a state to the highest degree of opulence, from the lowest of barbarism, but peace, easy taxes, and a tolerable administration of justice. Adam Smith's 4 canons of taxation, equity, certainty, convenience, and economy, remain as relevant today as when formulated about 250 years ago. An efficient tax system that applies this principle finances the developmental state, ensures fiscal sustainability, and signals investors predictable rules, rule-based business environment. Nigeria's aspiration of universal education, functional healthcare, modern infrastructure, and social protection demand predictable and growing domestic revenues. Tax administration reform is not a technical matter alone. It is an existential imperative for national development and sovereignty. Again, you remember Marcus Tullius says taxes are the sinews of a state. Means they aid development. President Tinubu's tax reform, what led to this? And what is the vision? He said we must tax prosperity, not poverty. We must tax the fruit and not the seed. And so since assuming office, the president has placed fiscal reform on the heart of renewed hope agenda. He constituted the Presidential Fiscal and Tax Reform Committee led by Professor Taiwo Edele, who is now the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister for the Economy. And this produced the new tax reform laws that we have. The Nigerian Tax Act, the Nigerian Tax Administration Act, the Nigerian Revenue Service Establishment Act, and the Joint Revenue Board Establishment Act. These are the most ambitious legislative reform of Nigeria's fiscal framework in a generation. Together, these laws target a tax to GDP ratio of at least 18% by the year 2027, eliminate nuisance taxes, simplify compliance, and position Nigeria as a global competitive fiscal destination. Now, what is the fiscal order? We need to understand the fiscal order refers to the evolving framework of fiscal governance, tax reform, public financial management, digital transformation, and institutional accountability, aimed at streamlining Nigeria's economic stability and reducing dependence on volatile revenue sources. The new fiscal order is characterized by increased focus on domestic revenue mobilization, fiscal sustainability and reduction in public debt dependency, harmonization of taxes and revenue administration, digital transformation of tax system, greater interagency collaboration and data integration, expansion of tax net without overburdening taxpayers, transparency, accountability, and taxpayer trust, improved ease of doing business, stronger compliance and enforcement mechanism, and alignment of fiscal policy with national development objectives. These initiatives and institutional restructuring efforts underscore the commitment of government to position the nation's revenue system for greater effectiveness and global relevance.
What has been the impact of the new tax reforms?
The reform delivers harmonized, modern legal framework that fundamentally changes the architecture of tax administration. A unified tax ID system creates the data foundation for risk-based compliance management. The NRS and the GRBA expanded mandate allows improved collaboration in tax administration across tiers of government, reducing duplication and jurisdictional confusion, and that has long burdened businesses. A strengthened anti-avoidance provision, updated transfer pricing rules, aligned with the OECD guidelines and clearer dispute resolution pathways, reduces uncertainty and deter profit shifting. For taxpayers, fewer levies, simplified filing procedures, and mandatory digital channels dramatically lowers compliance costs, making voluntary compliance the path to least resistance. Now, engendering the trust of tax administration. Trust is not a byproduct of compliance. It is its precondition. The new regime is deliberately architectured to rebuild the social contract between the state and the taxpayer. Transparency obligations, including publication of tax expenditure and taxpayer rights charters, create accountability. Consistent rules applied uniformly signal that no taxpayer enjoys special privilege and no honest taxpayer need to fear arbitrary treatment. Digitization, which reduces human discretion in assessment and audit selection, eliminates rent-seeking behavior that eroded public confidence. National taxpayer education campaigns in major Nigerian languages demystify obligation, while a strengthened taxpayer advocate office, such as the Office of the Tax Ombuds, ensures accessible, impartial recourse when things go wrong.
What transformational changes have taken place at the Nigerian Revenue Service over time?
I will speak on the transformation which the NRS have started for quite a while now. And I know this can serve as a model to other tax administration in the subnationals. And so since assumption of office as the executive chairman of our transformation strategy has been anchored on 3 foundational pillars: people, process, and technology, each reinforcing the other, together building a revenue service fit for demand and new fiscal order. Now, the first pillar, I'm speaking about investing in human capital. The Nigerian Revenue Service has over 12,000 staff across Nigeria, including chartered accountants, chartered tax practitioners, lawyers, economists, data scientists, IT experts, HR, human resources personnel experts, public relations experts, and international tax experts in different areas of taxation. The Nigerian Revenue Service has one of the largest pool of professionals in Nigeria. The service continues to recruit high caliber personnel and close critical skills gap in digital taxation, forensic audit, AI-driven analytics, and international tax. The NRS training school is being upgraded into an academy, tax academy, to partner with the African Tax Administration Forum, the OECD, the CIT, and other big institutions and universities to provide world-class professional development. Specialist units in transfer pricing, tax crimes investigation, digital economy taxation, and data analytics are strengthening modern tax administration capacity. And when we move to the process, what has been the process? We have reform engineering and service excellence. The Nigerian Revenue Service has re-engineered its business processes by eliminating redundancy, restructuring operation around taxpayer segments, and implementing clear service delivery standards, including a standard operating practice procedure that our tax officers use to standardize practice across our field offices. A taxpayer charter guarantees taxpayers' right to dignity, accurate information, confidentiality, and timely dispute resolution. Tax clearance certificates that previously took weeks are now issued on real-time through digital platforms. Strong anti-corruption measures, whistleblowing channels, automated processes, and technology-driven supervision reinforce institutional integrity, public trust, and public trust. The NRS is revolving from traditional revenue collection agency into a modern service-oriented institution focused on efficiency, professionalism, and taxpayer trust.
On the aspect of technology?
And in technology, what have we done? We have moved from ITAS to Tax Pro Max and now to Web 360. Our technology journey reflects a relentless ambition. A special appreciation goes to our forerunner, Mrs. Ifreko Omogu-Okaru, for starting the modernization journey with the introduction of our first generation integrated tax administration system, which established a taxpayer database and automated processes, thereby launching FRS into the tax administration 1.0. My predecessor, Dr. Muhammad Nami, also advanced it through the Tax Pro Max, launched in 2021, a homegrown solution delivering a web-based and end-to-end digital processing of all major tax types, real-time payment confirmation, improved data capture, driving successive record-breaking revenue collection, and enrolling millions of new taxpayers into the formal system. But technology cannot be static. It continues to evolve and be upgraded. Our next transformation is now the Web 360. Our comprehensive tax administration ecosystem, made up of multiple integrated components that manage full tax lifecycle, it provides a genuine 360-degree view of tax and revenue landscape Rep 360 is not merely an upgrade. It is the beginning of reimagining what a modern revenue authority can do. I know there have been comments around the introduction of Rep 360. I want to assure you that we are taking every comment back. We are going to be having a presentation after this paper that will speak on the technicalities of the Rep 360, and we are not going to even stop at that. We are going to take every comment, every criticism back home to further better it. And the other technology we are introducing AI and machine learning to enable real-time risk scoring and anomaly detection. We are integrating Rep 360 with all the technology, even from outside our organization, from the CAC to the CBN to financial institution, customs, the NIMC, the land registry, for comprehensive taxpayer profiling. So we will do more of intelligence than the hard work. We're doing international collaboration with the OECD BEPS country-by-country reporting, CRS automatic exchange of information, and bilateral information exchange agreements using technology to harness data from these sources. We're introducing the e-invoicing system that will enhance VAT compliance, improve transaction transparency, and reduce invoice fraud and sales suppression. These technologies can also help even the subnational through the exchange of information and assistance. The National Single Window Portal, which streamlines trade facilitation, improves revenue assurance, and reduces the cost of doing business. A mobile-first multilingual platform with AI-powered virtual assistant makes tax compliance easier and more accessible to all Nigeria. We've also an exchange of information and international cooperation. Modern tax evasion is borderless, and so must be its remedy. The NRS has systematically deepened Nigeria's integration in the global tax cooperation architecture, signatory to the Multilateral Convention of Mutual Administrative Assistance in Tax Matters, and participated at the OECD Inclusive Framework, United Nations discussion, and the Global Forum on Transparency and Exchange of Information. Nigeria has activated automatic exchange on financial account information under the Common Reporting Standard. We've signed bilateral double taxation agreement and tax information exchange, and has provided the service with legal pathway for requesting information on specific evasion. Memorandum of understanding, both locally and internationally, with CAC, FCC, NFIU, State Board of Internal Revenue Service, and others, and with sister revenue across Africa to supplement this framework. The results are tangible. Undisclosed offshore accounts have been identified, multilateral transfer pricing positions challenged, and relevant additional assessment raised, yielding significant additional revenue. Before I close, a call to partnership. They say, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. The transformation described in this paper is real and irreversible. But no revenue authority succeeds in isolation. The NRS call upon every stakeholder to join this journey as a full and active partner. The CITN and the tax professional study the reform laws deeply, guidelines towards full compliance, engage constructively on interpretive questions, and uphold the ethical standards that makes tax practice a noble calling. Your credibility shapes taxpayer perception of the entire system. To the business community, engage with a digital platform, invest in your own compliance infrastructure, and recognize that taxes are foundation of infrastructure, security, and service that your businesses depend on. To civil society and the media, be the watchdog, scrutinize performance, celebrate competent taxpayers, and amplify the stories of how revenue transforms lives. An informed public is the most powerful ally of a transparent revenue service. And to the subnational revenue authorities and the federal agencies, deepen data sharing, resolve jurisdictional overlaps constructively, and align around shared national objective of maximizing domestic revenue mobilization for every tier of government and every Nigerian citizen. In conclusion, the Roman Senate understood that sound public finance is the foundation of civilized governance. Nigeria, in this new fiscal order, is making the same affirmation. The Nigerian Revenue Service restructured on the pillar of people, process, and technology, equipped with landmark legislation, empowered by world-class systems, connected to global information exchange architecture, and driven by the culture of service, is ready to discharge this mandate with renewed vigor and uncompromising integrity. We are determined to be revenue service Nigerians are proud of, one that earns its authority not through coercion, but through competence, fairness, and service excellence. We ask for your partnership, your constructive engagement, and your commitment to building with us the fiscal foundation that Nigeria's future demands and the people deserves.
Dr. Zacchaeus Adedeji's paper was discussed by seasoned discussants who provided insightful perspectives on tax administration, policy implementation, stakeholder engagement, and practical steps needed to ensure the success of new fiscal order. Their contributions enriched the conversation and offered valuable recommendations for both government and taxpayers. All that will come your way in the very next episode, the sequel to this episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you for watching.